Hi, this is Jenny Spinner. I am Chief Editor of Snack Food and Wholesale Bakery, and I'm here to talk better for you snack innovations and growth with Matt Weiss, founder and CEO of RIND Snacks. Matt, thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Jenny. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Well, you're a pretty established brand in this space, but for people that don't know, I was wondering if you could start with sharing like the elevator presentation of RIND Snacks, how it got started, kind of like the general range of products, and the brand's mission and how you've managed to stay true to it since you got started.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So Rhine started in 2018 as a primarily dried fruit snack brand. We've grown and evolved into a broader, sustainable snack platform. And what I mean by that is what was whole fruit is now whole everything. You know, we use whole roasted nuts. We may use whole roasted vegetable, in the snacking space at some point. But the idea is maximize nutrition with our ingredients and quality and minimize food waste by using the whole fruit and increasingly using this term upcycled, which is, for lack of a better term, rescued produce that Rind and other brands are giving a second life. These are fruit seconds that get a second life as better for you snacks. So everything we do, our North Star is what we call, elevate the power of the peel. Fruit rinds and the skin of fruit, there's a reason scientifically why they have more fiber and more antioxidant and nutritional availability. And most people find that intuitive, but they forgot somewhere along the way that you can eat the peel. And we're here as a brand to sort of remind them that whole fruit snacking and snacking with a mission of that maximize nutrition, minimize waste is the future.
I'd like to dig in a little bit into the cool story behind the brand, but first of all, tell me a little bit about you. How did your life and your career take the winding path to where you are now, leading a fast-growing BFY snack brand?
Everyone has an unconventional route to market, I feel, and I'm no different. After college, I worked in the investment research industry, so finance here in New York. But what I was doing was studying other fast-growing businesses that were further along. They were in many cases public companies. So I was an analyst at a mutual fund, and I was just captivated by the stories and the business evolutions that I was seeing from an idea in someone's mind to multi-billion-dollar businesses. And here I was as a sponge observing these companies and trying to determine who are going to be the secular winners and losers, and therefore what makes a better stock. But what I wasn't learning was what makes a business tick, right? Take it out of the theoretical and move it into the practical. And I really wanted to jump into the messy middle and get my hands dirty and understand the operations of running a company and a brand. So I did that on the side for the first 2 years in 2018. And then prior to COVID, not knowing what was around the bend, like some other fearless entrepreneurs, I left my career. My family was very perplexed, but I had their blessing. And we haven't looked back since. It's been an incredible 4 or 5 year run since we've been in market.
That's it's good that you took the leap. Congratulations on the success. And good timing. Although better for you snacks are increasingly resonating with consumers, and producers and retailers alike are starting to take notice. So there's some competition out there. How does Ryan stand out from all of these guys? Feel free to talk about anything from the product offerings to your sustainability centered business practices, just anything that you think that makes Ryan special.
Sure. Differentiation is number 1, 2, and 3 in terms of the probability of success for a brand. You really have to have a point of view. Even if it's polarizing, you need to be memorable. And you can't be a carbon copy of something with a slight twist. but you also can't be overly, in my view, overly out there and esoteric that you're missing the larger part of the bell curve of mass appeal. So what I love about what we built at Rind, and we think of ourselves as Rind, not Rind Fruit Snacks, because we really are trying to platform the business, is this idea of fruit is universal. It's very familiar, but Ryan's take on dehydrated fruit is very novel in that we keep the skin on, which is tart, tangy, if anything, sometimes sour. And that is a bold bet that we made 5 years ago, that's where consumer taste profiles and preferences were shifting. Mm-hmm. And they're shifting away from super sweet, cloyingly sweet. Sugar on top of already sweet mangoes is kind of insane. So less sweet, more tangy is a differentiator. And we do that through unique fruits like kiwis, like oranges, other citrus, peach chips. So we stand out in that regard. We are clearly differentiated by our name, which does a lot of the education for us. We are Rind, and we encourage consumers to keep it real and eat the peel. Most dried fruit snack brands, in the name of consistency, production efficiency, and aesthetics, strip away the most nutritious layer. And we were able to really align our business with what we felt were the biggest cross currents that are multi-generational around better for you and functional. So there's a benefit I'm getting from choosing this snack over that snack, more fiber, more vitamin C, and then sustainable. We believe a whole crop of consumers, snackers coming of age are really prioritizing brands that are doing good, both for your body and by the environment. And they're smart. Consumers are smart. So they know greenwashing when they see it, and they know authenticity when they see it. Mm-hmm. And so it's very important to us. That's kind of how we differentiate. And there's a lot more to come. I mean, we'll get to it, but the biggest differentiator of all will be how we produce these products and how we will take ownership of that.
So you've grown quite a bit since the early days. Could you go into a little bit more in depth about some of the things that you believe have contributed to the success of Rind? And I'm going to let you mention anything from, the decisions you made to the partners that you partnered with to, you talked a little bit about being open about your sustainability and your other responsible practices. I'm going to let you just anything you want to, people you want to credit, whatever you want to say.
Awesome. Look, I think we sort of had a number of fortunate circumstances come together at launch. What's lost in a lot of this is that for 2 years, I was building the brand almost before there was a business. Mm-hmm. And I was able to sense traction in the market that would give me the confidence to leave a stable career and, take a really big risk. But I had seen enough excitement and consumer response to the brand at demos, at trade shows, that I felt like I had something, and that the bigger risk would have been staying safe. So I reframed it. And I think one of the reasons why we've had a lot of success is we had that running start sort of at launch into market. And then when the world shut down, really in March of 20, when we were launching into our first brick and mortar accounts with great gusto, Whole Foods, Wegmans, and the fresh market, mm-hmm. Like everything, we ran into a brick wall and had to pivot. And fortunately, we had some toeholds in some exciting new channels that really catapulted our business. One of which is Hungry Root, which is a grocery subscription box that's curated based on dietary preferences. It has an algorithm based on what you're liking and what you're preferring to what you're not, giving feedback. And that business was very strong in the spring of 2020 and allowed Rind to wake up to this omni-channel strategy that's mm-hmm. so important now for brands. And we have found brands that were sort of caught flat-footed where they were trying to chase omni-channel or alt channel in the midst of COVID, weren't getting a receptive audience because they were slammed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And those that put off brick and mortar to satisfy D2C, it worked for a while until the world reopened and they missed out on a huge retail expansion. Rind was able to have a presence in sort of the three channels that mattered and have a critical mass to start.
Mm-hmm.
And then we sort of leaned in as, you know, based on what we were seeing in the market. But we had diversity in real estate and channel of where you could find our products that made us punch above our weight. So people would encounter Rind as a travel snack when they were at the airport at Hudson News.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would also see us, you know, Amazon Subscribe and Save or at, you know, their Whole Foods. And all of that, I believe those touch points play a real important role in the flywheel of a brand.
Yeah, and it's another interesting step in your growth trajectory. You recently announced your intention to become, as you said, a leading better for you snack brand, which I would argue you already are. But you made a really interesting step with the acquisition of Small Batch Organics. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about, well, one, why is that company a good fit? Why now? And what that melding of like-minded brands is going to look like going forward.
Yeah, very timely. We closed on our first acquisition and a very exciting one at that in October of 23.
Mm-hmm.
And we just announced it in February of this year. An incredible brand and manufacturer out of Southern Vermont, Small Batch Organics. This was a founder and Lindsay Martin that I got to know over the last 4 or 5 years. So I'm a big believer in playing a longer game. Life is long, and you know, we build these brands with the right intentions and not, you know, for any sort of shortcut outcomes. And getting to know Lindsay with no preconception of one day we might combine, I think was just a wonderful partnership and friendship where we would just, like I do with a lot of fellow founders, say what's working, what's not, you know, version of CPG therapy. And it became clear that in the last 2 years, the brands that I was seeing really hit their stride, and I had the most admiration for, all owned their own manufacturing by and large. Mm-hmm. They controlled their destiny, and everyone is, you know, you are the priority when you own it versus one of 20 brands fighting for line time or fighting for space on a container ship. The idea to sort of backfill into our own manufacturing and fulfillment, which we've done, was sort of a distant dream. But because Small Batch built greenfield from scratch, their own production facility in Vermont, and they made spectacular granola and specialty chocolate products, granola bark, it allowed us to bring the best of Rind, which is around branding, sales, marketing, distribution, with what Lindsay and her team are excellent at, which is innovation and efficient production. And we started talking, and we sort of said, you know what, I think there's a there. And, you know, as 23 unfolded, we orchestrated an acquisition that made a lot of sense, and it's going much better than expected. You would think an integration in the first 90 days would have its headaches, and of course they do, but we have really been pleased by the results that we're seeing.
That's great. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. It's been a pleasure hearing about your story, and but I thought I would ask you, what's next for Rind? You're growing, you're expanding. Do you have any other new products or other acquisitions in the works that you can tell me about?
We've gotten so many inbounds since announcing this news, which is exciting. We're going to be really selective with partnerships and opportunities. There's no future acquisition on the horizon, but if there wasn't with Small Batch either. So we're going to be, you know, open to all good ideas as they unfold. As far as innovation, that is really now a core capability that Rind has. And it's something that we've elevated Lindsay to that role of head of new product development and manufacturing. And we have some very exciting products we're going to be showing a sneak peek of at Expo
Nice.
very shortly, that bring the best of crunchy, delicious granola and almonds with the beauty of Rind's upcycled fruit and maybe some chocolate, our first foray into indulgent, but still better.
Mhm.
We're really, focused on showing a broader snack capability than I think most people have seen from Rind, which has been just the fruit. Now you'll see a lot more.
Well, it's been fun to watch, and I'll definitely keep an eye on you going forward. Matt Weiss, thanks a ton for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jenny. It's been a
And
pleasure.
everybody, thank you for listening. We'll talk to you again soon.